Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, and back from a few days break. I got to see Doctor Strange 2, and I definitely recommend it if you haven't yet already. Today, we are going to be discussing more of Cosmic Crucible, which is just around the corner with the preseason starting tomorrow, Wednesday at noon Pacific time, I'm pretty sure. Now, this is mainly going to include you setting up your defense before your first match on Friday and getting used to the interface a little bit. So that's what to expect over the next couple of days. What we'll be doing in today's video, though, is that I have set up a brand new spreadsheet. Of course, there's always usually a spreadsheet somewhere, which is going to help you decide where you should and shouldn't use your teams in these new rule rooms. So there are 4 of these, and if you haven't been keeping up with Cosmic Crucible, then you'll find out that there's 6 rooms, but 4 of these are special rules, which are going to make using your favorite teams a bit more difficult. So by the end of this video, hopefully you have a better idea of exactly where you should be using your teams and characters in which room, whether that be for setting up for defense or planning out your offense. And I want to finish off by saying that this will likely be the same for basically the next 2 to 3 months, I think, since that's how long the preseason is meant to last for. So without further ado, let's get this show on the road. Okay, and like I said, usually there's always a spreadsheet. So this is a new one that I've made over the last couple of days. This is called the, well, maybe I need to give it a better title, but tentatively, I guess I've labeled it the Cosmic Crucible Room Info Spreadsheet. And just to start things off, before you start looking at the tables below here, we're going to go through this. I've kind of basically ranked all of the teams and meta characters that I think are relevant to talk about in one of 3 of these categories, either good, meh, or bad, as far as the rooms go. So what I've done is I've taken most of the meta teams out there. Now I've skipped some, like you're not going to see probably X-Force, you're not going to see AIM, you're not going to see Brotherhood, you're not going to see basically anything that's older than like 14, 16 months, that's really not worth mentioning. Teams and characters that are pretty highly in the meta at this point, like that are released in the last year. Those are the kind of characters that you're going to see in this spreadsheet. Now, just to go over things a little bit, though, for those of you who may have been, living under a rock when it comes to Cosmic Crucible, let's talk about these rooms really quick and what they mean. So, I don't have the first 2 rooms listed, and the reason why that is because there is no rooms. Or, sorry, there's no rules. There are rooms. Rooms 1 and 2 are no rule rooms, which means you can do anything you want. You can put whoever you want there, and it doesn't really make a huge difference. But we're going to talk about, and I've also laid out my team. So, if you guys watched my last video when I talked about, what teams I'm planning on using, I have actually kind of like now decided where I'm going to put them. The 6 teams that I had on my defense, I've decided which rooms they're going to go in. We're going to talk about that as well. And then the offense teams, the main offense teams I have left over, and where those are going to go as well, because it's important to plan ahead a little bit to know which of your teams are going to be available to use in which rooms. This is super important. And, I really can't stress this enough, like understanding the character kits, understanding the teams, and like what buffs and debuffs they do are really important to these rooms. So to get things started off, Room 3, called Defensive Reversal, on all characters' turns. This is important. On all characters' turns, flip defense up, deflect, and evade on that character's allies. Number 4, Slowdown, on all characters' turns. If that character has speed up, clear all positive effects and apply 2 turns of slow and trauma to that character. So that's kind of bad because that means you're not going to be able to cleanse it with that trauma on. 5, Cosmic Catastrophe. Now this is a new one. They didn't have this in the playtest when I did this. All characters who passively revive return with 1 health. So Infinity Watch, Ultron, trying to think of Wolverine, Nobu. These characters that do revive, they come back with 1 HP. And then, on all characters' turns, reduce speed bar by 50% for that character's cosmic ally. So, basically, you're not going to be able to use any cosmic characters in here. I would be very surprised if you somehow managed to get a turn with them, given how much turn bar is being reduced every single turn, essentially. And then number 6, Time Dampening. All speed bar increases and decreases have no effect for all characters. So, Eternals, somewhat Darkhold, Cable, Loki, these kind of things that generate Shadowlands, White Tiger, I guess. Other characters that trigger speed bar increase or decrease, right? You know, is not going to work here. And so that's really important to know. And then all of the rooms, including the first 2 rooms, get something called Defender's Advantage. And it's called defending character, well, it's called that. Defending characters gain 20% health and 10% damage. So that's just for all of your defense teams. Think of that as like a medbay buff, a mini medbay buff with a mini cargo base, you know, something like that from War. So what I have down here, and this is really important here, is I've basically just room 3, 4, 5, and 6. These are the ones from above. And I've listed all of the major teams in both of these charts here and where you can and can't use them. Now, if they're green, that typically means that, yeah, you're good to go. You know, like, there's nothing really stopping you from using this. And before we get started with this and explanations, this is for both the defense and offense. So when you're setting up for your defense, it's really important to know where you can slot them in and where you can't, based on the characters that you're using. For offense, it's equally important because it works on both sides of the field. So you really have to understand that, yeah, it might not work out very well if you use, say, well, in this case, the Wakandans in basically any other room other than 1, 2, and 5. So like I said, 1 and 2 have no rules, so you can use all of these teams and characters in 1 and 2. These are specifically the rule rooms because I think this is going to be the most important knowledge to know. So let's get started. So for Darkhold, basically you can kind of, they're not the best in any of these rooms. However, do not use them in 4. 4 is on all characters' turns if that character has speed up, clear all positive effects, and apply 2 turns of slow and trauma. So when Morgan Le Fay does her time warp, or whatever the skill is called, the special, everyone gets speed up. And if they don't have safeguard, then that's going to get cleared and flipped. So that's a big problem, and you're going to get slow and trauma. And that's not good. And so that's, to my opinion, a bit of a no-no. The other ones is a bit of a problem as well because, you know, for 3 with the deflex, they get a lot of deflex. They also have defense up. Some of them are cosmic. Well, Strange is a cosmic character, so you could run room 5, and that's why it's orange. Is like you could run these rooms, but you might have to make some concessions. You might have to remove Evil Strange, otherwise he's not going to do anything. And then time dampening. I think that you could still run Darkhold in room 6 because I don't think that the turn bar reduction from Strange's special and Morgan's time warp, I don't think is like significant enough that you would lose a match over it because Darkhold is such a powerful team. I think you could still run it and get away with it. So yeah, just don't use Darkhold in room number 4. As far as Wakandans go, I think that they were designed for room number 5, right? So none of them are cosmic. That gets them a shoe-in for room number 5. But they have basically everything else. Shuri gives them speed up. They get defense up from Shuri as well. And they have actually speed bar mechanics in Cosmic Crucible now with the boss, but also with the Koye and things like that. So not the best team to use in 6. You might be able to get away with it, actually, and maybe I'll make it an orange. It's not that bad, but it's probably not something that you would want to do if you can help it. But they're definitely made for room number 5. And this is both for defense and offense. Just wanted to clarify that again. Dark Hunters, this is my DHU. So if you see anything that says DHU, for me that's Dark Hunters because Darkhold typically is DH for me. So Dark Hunters for me is DHU. They can pretty much be used everywhere. They don't suffer from any of these as far as I'm aware. Young Avengers, they're you don't want to use them in room 3 because they have a shit ton of deflex, like everywhere, right? So you don't want to use them there. They're available in room 4 and room 6. It's not a big deal. There's some buffs that they don't get because they're not in War, because they do get speed up in War, but they don't outside of it, so that's not a big deal. Room 5 is only a bit of a problem because of America Chavez. If you were to use someone else, then you could probably get away with room number 5. I was actually thinking about this because if I were to stick them on the defense in room 5 without Chavez, I think that they probably still could beat Infinity Watch, or basically a lot of the counters that Young Avengers would have are typically countered by cosmic characters for the most part. Outside of maybe Darkhold could probably beat them actually, and for that reason, sticking them in room 5 would be pretty interesting. But that's not where I put them, unfortunately. They do have some speed bar mechanics, and so that's why you might find it weird that I put a check mark on room number 6 because Squirrel Girl has that. But I don't think that that's gonna break their usage in this room enough. I think that they're going to be very solid regardless. But I think I've decided to put them in room 4. I think that's where my Young Avengers are sitting at. Ravagers, I'm not going to talk about every single team because I don't have them, but Ravagers is listed here. Web Warriors is listed here. A very common defense team that I've decided to use. I believe I stuck them in 3. So they do actually get occasional evades. I think it's a 50% chance on Scarlet Spider's kit. So having intimate knowledge of the character's kits are really important. They do get speed up, so that's a bit of an issue. So you don't want to run them in 4, and they're not cosmic, and they don't really have speed bar mechanics. They'd have some from the dodging, so that's not going to happen, but I still think that's viable. I'm essentially putting Web Warriors on the defense because of AI, right? You know, because tinfoil hat here on dodging. Eternals basically get fucked everywhere. Time dampening, they're cosmic, they have speed up, hell, they actually have defense up as well. That's probably the most reasonable place to use them, or in rooms 1 and 2 where there's no rules. So Eternals do actually get effed in a lot of places. Other good teams that don't really get effed, New Warriors, you can see there's a lot of check marks here. Secret Avengers isn't too bad, but I would be cautious about Fury, using Nick Fury in room number 4, because he's going to spread a lot of his buffs if you use the special, and so I would probably just not use him if you're going to use Secret Avengers in room 4. Infinity Watch also get effed in room 5, but they're perfectly fine in room number 6 because of time dampening. There's no real speed bar mechanics there. You could use them in these other rooms for the starting turns that they have, and they get Safeguard. That'll actually prevent these buffs and debuffs from being flipped. So do keep that in mind, but outside of that, it might be a bit of trouble, I don't know. And then I have some of the other teams, Black Order, X-Factor, Shadowlands, Astonishing X-Men. Marauders is an interesting one. Even though they're a war team, a war defense team, they're actually usable in all of the rooms. Emma Frost is available in all the rooms. Zemo is available in most of the rooms. Doc Ock, most of it except for room number 4. Doom, some of it. And so I have Silver Surfer, Kestrel. So these are the main standalone characters that I have here. Other ones that I'm missing, though, is Dormammu. I didn't do him. You know, obviously he's cosmic, right? So don't use him in room number 5. But not a lot of people have him, which is why I didn't list him. And Ultron. I didn't list Ultron. If there's anyone you think I'm really missing that I should have added to this chart, please let me know. And then I'm going to make this available in the description below and also in my Discord. So if you're interested in this spreadsheet to share with your alliance, then I will share this as well. I'll remember to put a little Boilon stamp here. So if anyone shares it, they know it came from me. But yeah, otherwise, I think it's a very useful piece of information. I think this is really going to help people, you know, think about more. Think about the characters that you're using and thinking about which rooms that you want to use them. So I want to kind of finish off here with talking about my characters and my team. So I kind of did this myself. I did this on live stream actually a couple days ago. So this is my defense here. Young Avengers, Infinity Watch, something called Astonishing Phoenix. I dumped Kitty Pryde and I put Phoenix in there. A Doom Hybrid. This is a bit of a Doom soup kind of team here. And then Web Warriors and Wakandans. So I decided to put Wakandans in room number 5. I basically listed out all of the places that I could potentially use them, basically based on this chart here. And so I came up with this. So we have Astonishing Phoenix and Doom in 1 and 2. I'm hoping to bait out maybe Kestrel, perhaps, from this Astonishing Phoenix team, and that way maybe it'll help me that you know, maybe they won't have Kestrel to use somewhere else. I have Web Warriors in room number 3, which is the one that is the orange, having to do with evades and things like that, but I think they'll be able to get through that anyways. Room number 4 is Young Avengers. That's the slowdown one. I don't think that's not a big deal there. And room number 5 is Wakandans, because that's the team, that's the room meant for them. And 6 is Infinity Watch, because if you saw here, it was really the only place where they don't really have a lot of problems. So that's my lineup there. But then what I did was I took all the teams that I'm going to be using for offense, my main meta teams, and then I kind of just laid out the same thing, like where I can use them. And, you know, I did it here, you know, and I listed them just so I knew for me. Now, you don't have to do this. This is just something I did for myself, just so I know, like, what rooms are they available to be used in. So outside of room, I don't even know why I listed rooms 1 and 2, because obviously they can all be used there, but I can see, like, okay, so for room number 3, right, and that's the first one, that's the defensive reversal, what teams can I kind of use? I said maybe Darkhold, right, because they can kind of be used there. If they have Safeguard, it's okay. Eternals meta, you know, with Zemo and Emma, you know, I'm still going to get hit by the flip maybe, but I might be able to kill them fast enough that it won't matter. And then I have, like, Black Order And that's sort of like an iffy one as well. But I think if I can kill them fast enough, it's really not a big deal. And then I'm like, room 4, okay, what do I have? Room 5, what do I have? Room 6, what do I have? And do I have the right teams to be able to counter, say, some of the things that I've set up in defense? Am I going to encounter something like that on the enemy field? And do I have offensively teams that can be used in that room? And so this is what I kind of broke it up into, is like rooms 3, 4, 5, and 6. These are the teams that I have that I can use. And you can see that I have like 4 teams for room 6. I have like 5 for room 5. Now, these are, of course, that I can use them anywhere. And it really depends on what teams are going to be showing up on the enemy side as well. Where I'm going to do. And what's great about Cosmic Crucible is that you're going to be able to plan this in advance. You're going to be matched up, and then you have 24 hours to do your attacks. So you can think about this more. If you want to use my spreadsheet and kind of plan things out a little bit, you can do that. And then when the actual battle happens, then you can be like, oh, okay, well, based on what I've seen here, I can use this character here, I can use that character there, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, I really hope this is a useful tool for everyone. Let me know if there's anything that you would like to see change to this. If you think that it's going to be helpful for you, that's awesome too, and I hope that it does, because this is something that I'm going to be sharing with everyone, including my Alliance, my Discord, and whoever else wants to see it. And I'll be updating this as it goes along, as new characters come out, new meta teams come out. I don't have Unlimited X-Men on here, don't have A-Force on here, and as the season change, I'll update the sheet as well with changing like check marks and stuff depending on the rule rooms and things like that. So I hope this is helpful. I plan on doing a lot more Cosmic Crucible content as we go forward, because it's something that I enjoy, and it's solo, so I don't have to rely on my Alliance to actually do well in it potentially. So you'll see more content of Cosmic Crucible probably on this channel more than I've done Alliance War, because that's not something that I really had that much interest in, interestingly enough, and this is something that I can do on my own time when I want, which is another good positive as well. So I hope for the best for the launch of Cosmic Crucible. Yeah, that's the end of the video, and I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, please smash that like button and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. I know there's a lot of people out there who watch my videos but don't actually subscribe, so if you can check to see if you're subscribed, and if you're not, hit that button. That'd be great for me too. So thanks everyone, I'll see you in the next video, and until then, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see y'all later. Boilon signing out.